He did not enter number one. Well, he entered number one, but he didn't win it. All right. Benoit was born in Montreal, Quebec, even though he grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, the sons of Michael and Margaret Benoit. He also has a sister living near Edmonton. During his childhood and early adolescence in Edmonton, Benoit idolized Tom Billington, who was known as the Dynamite Kid, and Bret Hart. Thank you, Chris. And at 12 years old, he attended.
Stand-up guy right there, Bret Hart.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. And at 12 years old, he attended a local wrestling event at which the two performers stood out above everyone else. And Benoit, from there, Benoit knew what he wanted to do. He went to train to become a professional wrestler in the infamous Hart family dungeon, receiving his wrestling education under the patriarch Stu Hart. In the ring, Benoit emulated both Billington, the Dynamite Kid, and Bret Hart, cultivating a high-risk style and physical appearance more resilient of the former Dynamite Kid. If you take a look at a picture of the Dynamite Kid, Google Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid, and you put it with a picture right next to Benoit, they both look similar. The same build, style. The only difference is that Billington is from England and Benoit is from Canada. So Benoit started off at Stampede Wrestling, which was owned by Stu Hart, the guy that trained him. From there, he moved on to New Japan Professional Wrestling, winning their IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. The IWGP stands for International Wrestling Grand Prix, kind of a fictional body within professional wrestling. You got to know the terms. And there he met his best friend, in Japan, Eddie Guerrero. A name will come up a little bit later. Also working with other guys such as Jushin Thunder Liger, Chris Jericho, La Champion, Chris Jericho, and Gato, who's now the guy that's their head, New Japan's head booker.
Gato?
No, Gato.
Gato.
Yeah, Gedo. It's pronounced.
His name is Jato.
That's not his real name. That's his wrestling name.
Oh, I'm about to say that's his real name, Jato.
No, Gato.
Gato.
Yes.
That's like a damn thing you put on your face. So Gato.
Thank you.
All right, keep going.
From when he went to Japan, he was taken a look at by World Championship Wrestling, which at the time was the number 2 wrestling promotion in the United States. They took a look at him. He wrestled a couple of matches. He ended up leaving to go to Extreme Championship Wrestling, which at the time was the 3rd most popular wrestling promotion in the United States. He did some matches there. He gained his name the Crippler because he accidentally, during one match, what makes you think that someone would get the nickname the Crippler from eating a lot of cheesesteaks?
Because was it ECW of Philadelphia? Right? Right? Yes or no?
Yes, it was based out of Philadelphia.
Okay. What's the West Philadelphia food they know for? What are they known for?
Cheesesteaks.
So he crippled fucking cheesesteaks. Keep going.
No, he didn't cripple cheese. Look at a picture of Benoit. Does that man look like he even had a cheesesteak in his life?
Yeah, he must have something.
He gained the nickname the Crippler because he accidentally knocked out a professional wrestler he was working with, Rocco Rock. And he also accidentally broke another wrestler's neck within the ring. He actually broke the neck of Sabu, who's another really crazy high flyer wrestler, and he accidentally broke his neck. Even though Benoit felt terrible about it, the owner of ECW, Paul Heyman, was like, "That's it. We're calling you the Crippler."
Yeah, okay. Good booking, Paul Heyman.
Yeah. One of the few booking that he had. From there, Benoit was forced to leave ECW because his work visa had expired, and the owner Paul Heyman failed to renew it on time. So Benoit, instead of being in trouble with the naturalization office and federal government, decided to leave United States and toured Japan. And from there, WCW had called and wanted to bring him back in for his work that he had been doing in ECW, and they were able to take care of his visa situation. From there, he was able to join WCW, and from there, he was recruited into one of the greatest wrestling stables of all time, the Four Horsemen. Chris, which was led by Ric Flair. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know who Ric Flair is.
Nature Boy.
The Nature Boy.
He likes boys. He likes being called the Nature Boy. No,
that's not what that means. But at the time, the Four Horsemen consisted of Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Brian. The Enforcer.
What was it? Was it Double A?
Double A or the Enforcer?
Originally, what a couple of old ladder batteries called the Enforcer. Double A.
Yeah, and Brian Pillman.
What was his day? Because everybody had the day. You had the Nature Boy, the Enforcer, and you had the Crippler. What was Brian Pillman?
First, he was Flying Brian. Then he became the Loose Cannon.
Yeah, he's the Loose Cannon.
Yeah, it's a different story for a different day on a different podcast. Plenty of stories written about Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman ended up leaving to go to the WWE. That's a very long and complicated story. So they ended up bringing in Steve Mongo McMichael, which
85 Bears.
Yeah, he was the starting defensive tackle for the 85 Bears.
Twice already. He's not really a big guy. But, you know, of course,
he's
like
older. Yeah.
And really, though, when you see him at, like, fantasy football conventions, if you say the Four Horsemen, he'd gladly say, fuck the Four Horsemen.
That's good to know. So don't bring up the Four Horsemen underneath his underneath him. From there, he was able to win multiple championships, but really at the time, he was really upset with his position in the company. He felt that he should have been a little bit higher in the company, but was constantly put towards the mid card because of older wrestlers who management felt they were able to still sell tickets to the place. So what had happened was in 2000, him, Eddie Guerrero, two other wrestlers, Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko, ended up letting their contracts expire and going over.
WWE sucked. They sucked at the time. The only thing they kept pushing was 80s wrestlers who barely could walk, or 90s mixed stars that were too drunk to wrestle. So it sucked at the time. WWF at the time was kicking WCW's ass. But you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock right there. Two mega stars, currently still today, global icons. If you probably say the names of the country in the world, everybody knows who the hell they are. Was like their top stars, and then you had guys like Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Triple H. So hell, WWE was must-see TV. While WCW was like, let's just try to get through tonight because we get paid.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they left. They left because WCW sucked.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, you want to watch that shit like Nitro. You was like, no, it wasn't Nitro. But I'm like, I want to watch Raw and shit. So you was like, no, Nitro. I'm like, why? You had already seen Rowdy Piper fight Hulk Hogan a million times on television. While hell, DX is about to take on the Nation of Domination. Hell, this is brand new.
Well, I'm sorry. I was more of a WCW person than a WWE person.
You wanted to watch Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Juventud Guerrero. Meanwhile, Raw was showing breasts and puppies and bra and panties matches.
I'm sorry. You're watching two of the greatest wrestlers that ever lived. Okay, Rey Mysterio is a legend. Put some respect on his name, all right? Put some respect. He's a legend in Mexico. And you never, every time those two dudes put on a match, you were not leaving disappointed. You over here with your pre-adolescent fucking ass want to sit here and watch fake implants and perverts go puppies and kitties instead of watching actual wrestling. I'm a man, but when you say professional wrestling, I want to watch professional wrestling. You know what? There's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place. If I want to watch professional wrestling, I'm going to watch professional wrestling. You got that?
Okay. Whatever.
All right. So back to the story. Benoit and the rest of them end up jumping ship. WCW ends up folding. Benoit eventually, after a couple of years, becomes world champion. At WrestleMania 20 in a match against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. That's what it is so far. So we got to start talking about when Benoit had started going really taking a turn. But first, we need to do a commercial break for one of our sponsors coming in. So, yes, I have sponsors. Is that okay, Chris? You'll hear it on when this episode is released. Yeah.
And you see that going like break me off club. I got this free. I'm like what's that? Non-promoto or whatever they call it. You think Robert Shapiro FB baby?
Chris, you want to know how much I've been paid off this podcast?
How much?
Right now, $13.
Oh, shit. Better
All right, let's take a break. Let's take a break for our sponsors. We'll be right back. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you get paid for this podcast. What I like about it is starting using it is how easy it is to use. I just upload those episodes of my podcast. I placed it other places, do some editing and tinkering, and voila, that's it. It's that simple. So if you always wanted to start your own podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. And now, let's get on with the show. All right, we're back. So when we left off, it was we talked about Chris Benoit had jumped ship from WCW to WWE, wrestled a lot of high-profile matches, ended up winning the World Championship at WrestleMania 20. From there, he ends up losing it to Randy Orton at that year's SummerSlam.
You know why? He lost it? Supposedly the word is in the locker room and what everybody said. He wasn't a draw. He didn't move the needle. He didn't bring in no money. People actually turned away from watching wrestling when he was the heavyweight champion.
Well, also, he didn't get any better when Randy Orton was there.
Yeah, but then also too, forget like Steve Austin like stopped wrestling. The Rock